Kyler Murray's agent basically took a writing seminar sometime last week and sent out a bizarre note, 5 paragraphs, capital letters, demanding that his client, Kyler Murray, who still has 2 years left on his deal, become a priority for an extension. And at first I was like, well, all right, this is probably what all agents do, right? But secondhand, he definitely wanted this to leak. And then I'm thinking, what the hell's going on here? This is an undersized quarterback who chokes in the second half of every season. This is like Jar Jar Binks writing the Star Wars people at Ransom note. I try to be timely there, Shaq, with a jar, right? This is basically a character who doesn't need, right? Like how dare he? You know what I'm saying?
Done. Well done.
Well,
okay. I think it's 2001, right?
Oh, yes.
I think you nailed it. Yeah. More currently, I wonder if it's an homage by Kyler to his baseball brethren to not want to play, or if baseball is paying homage to by they're taking the day off. Like you say, like it's silly to talk about. Maybe the baseball's like, we shouldn't play sports period right now, given what's going on in the world. Yeah, it's bizarre. It's extremely bizarre to use some of the parlance of the agent, who just couldn't help himself with the hyperbole and the adverbs, right? I mean, just it's a good lesson in creative writing at minimum. Don't lean on adverbs too much, young writers out there. Just look at that document as this is what not to do. If you're
spell check helps too. Yeah, he had a couple
some
couple
grammar,
of typos
right.
in there. Yeah. Yeah, it's bizarre. Am I looking at this wrong, Martin? I feel like this is a guy who I don't know. You look at the numbers on. Well, yet he's like 7th for MVP voting right now, like at 12-1 in the NFL. So I'm like, maybe I'm missing something here, but he does have 2 years left on his contract, and it seems like the same kind of thing for him. And he's going to run last check, as we know with all these quarterbacks. You don't believe me? Look at his over/under for yardage on the ground. Under hit big time. So I don't know where the appeal is and where he gets the balls here.
First, this is the most, as like someone who went to J school, copy edits all the time. This is the most annoying press release since LeBron said he was coming to the Lakers, because it just completely devoid of commas, hyphens.
Right.
It's just like the ultra competitive needs a hyphen right there, pal. It's just little shit like that just tearing me up. Secondly, I don't like this because this is like statement from Kyler's agent, Eric Burkhart, right? But it just reads as if Kyler wrote this in the third person. Like in an effort to try to distance it from Kyler saying it himself, it reads as if Kyler just dictated and now he just goes, Kyler wants to be this, Kyler wants to do that. The third thing, I found it interesting that his number one goal is to be your long-term quarterback, and his number 2 goal is to win the Super Bowl. Because you would think most guys would say number 1 goal is to win the Super Bowl, and we'll figure everything else out after that.
Right.
But part of me just has to be curious if this is a level of, first, I disagree. Kyler Murray has not rapidly improved in his 3 years. I think he's gotten incrementally better. But when you look at a league in which you have Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, and you see the improvements, or even a Justin Herbert, you see the improvements that they've taken year over year over year, you look at Kyler, he just hasn't. He's been the same guy he was which is very good. But the idea he's rapidly improving, I don't know about all that.
Look at like first down efficiency, he's like 25th in the league, however you want to rank that and everything. But yeah, it's bizarre. And also, as a little man, I could see the little man complex shining through with the big cap letters, but big block paragraph cap letters. So I don't know that this is going to work.
And I just wonder, like, what this is just. Maybe he's just sitting back thinking, damn, I know there's no baseball right now currently, but if I had signed that contract with the A's, I would have had this bread. But I don't understand the timing. I don't understand the reason. But part of it is too, like, I think a lot of this has to do with the Kyler reports that you heard from earlier in the season, and watching him earlier in the season, in the regular season, when, things would go wrong and he would look like, somebody kicked his dog.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the thing that happened. Like, he looked like a, crybaby, for lack of a better term, when the chips were down. And now also stop scrubbing Instagrams. Like, who cares? You didn't break up with anybody. You're under contract for 2 years. It's not like you had an ex. I have ex-girlfriends on my Instagram right now. You know why? Because it's a thing that happened. It's a thing that happened. It's way in the past. If anyone wants to address it, I can talk about it. But the idea you're scrubbing your Instagram and that means I'm going to break up with the team, stop it. That's childish. Be a professional.
It is funny. I do like that. That's the passive aggressive move of the 21st century is to scrub your Instagram. Hey, Russell Wilson, go look at that one. I'm taking all Seahawks related stuff off my social media. It's so stupid. These multimillionaire grown-ups behaving like this. But I think the big story is, by the way, Napoleon syndrome impacting the world all over right now. Yeah, I think I do think that we need to get ready for this. I don't know how many more examples we need of it to solidify the point, but quarterbacks control the league more. They're starting to come around to this idea more and more and more, that they're in charge, that they are the essential item to have if you want to be competitive in pro football in the 21st century. And taking a page a decade or so later from LeBron and company, that you don't need the bourgeoisie. You know, at the working class, we will figure this out. I'm the one in control, not you. Now I'm the captain, and we don't like it, and fits and starts, and Aaron Rodgers doing his nonsense and his petulance in Green Bay, and Kyler and Russell Wilson. But this is the way. This is how it is now. The quarterbacks do get to dictate to some degree, and I'm kind of with them in broad strokes. I don't like the specifics of it. The way the Kyler that thing looks ridiculous, and Aaron Rodgers, and all that. But this is the way it's going to go now. It does make sense. If you are one of a small handful of human beings capable of doing something, then you should control your destiny. That's the upshot.
I'm with
right?
you. I think you're right. I don't think it'll get to a point in the NFL where you could James Harden your way to any team you want every 18 months or however it is. And we'll talk about James Harden in a minute. But I want to, and I think this is in defense of quarterbacks. I think just by virtue of the job and the position, you're just bound to turn crazy. I think you are. Yep. I feel like with late night hosts, and my cousin being one of them. I don't know if you guys know that, but they all turn a little loony. Whether it's Kilborn or whether it's Johnny Carson or Letterman, as much as you loved him, the last few years he had no contact with people. They were handing notes under his door in his dressing room. Wouldn't even come out for rehearsal. That's kind of how. It's just for I don't know. Maybe it's just being a psychologist, talking to guests for people you don't normally care about for 15 minutes a day. Maybe that does it to you. Maybe the same thing with quarterbacks. You used to think it was just Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady's a little weird, right? Deshaun Watson definitely has his things going on. It's a little more on a criminal level, but maybe maybe it's just how it is with the position. You just have to go nuts by the end of the run, and that's a defense of Kyler Murray and his fellow quarterbacks. It really is. Go ahead.
Thank you. You're finally you've joined my side. I don't know if it's the dark side or not, but yes, this is exactly right, Sal. Quarterback, yes. And by the way, I did think it was out of bounds. That the former Jimmy now, like I saw him a few months ago, and he was like, "It's Mr. Kimmel." I'm like, "What? I'm not calling you Mr. Kimmel." But
it's his father, yeah.
But yeah, right. It is my, I guess, tepid defense or otherwise when people are like, "How can you root for Ben Roethlisberger?" What are we talking about? Is everybody else some pristine angel?
Yeah.
Every quarterback, to your point, I think by virtue of having your ass kissed from the age of 13 or 14 on and making millions of dollars and everywhere you go is a high five. You think these guys hear the negativity? It's a stunner to Aaron Rodgers to look at his social media. He's like, I can't believe so many people are angry at me. It's stunning to them because everywhere they go face to face, everybody's like, you're the greatest. Let me take a picture with you. Of course it gives you godlike God syndrome or whatever it's called. They're big, and mix into it, they're 26. They're also not they're not like 58-year-old people who are wise to the way of the world. Like this is all they've ever known. Of course they go a little cuckoo.
Well, in that regard, maybe it's not just the quarterback, but it just happens to be that the quarterback's the one who the microphone's stuck in his face more than the defensive tackle, who's also been told he's the greatest thing since he was 13 years old and he's never done any wrong, right? So it's probably, I don't know. Well, that's what I mean. It's the position that drives you nuts.